Hi everyone, it's Pamela. This is part 2 of What is Ice Theater. If you haven't seen the first part yet, then I recommend you go watch that one first. Otherwise, welcome back. So this was the original logo that my team used for several years, but then it was updated, and then this became the logo, which we have used ever since. In the first video, I said that I would circle back and go more in depth and tell you what program we did each year. So that is what this video will be all about. So I have the benefit show brochure in front of me, which has all of our competition history on it. Shows aside, my first real competition program with the Los Angeles Ice Theater was in 2008. It was the International Theater on Ice competition and the first ever US National Theater on Ice Championships, and they were held in Burlington, Vermont. We were the senior division, and our short program was Butterfly, and it was set to the music from Memoirs of a Geisha, and our long program was Corteo. It was based on the Cirque du Soleil show of the same name, and we were mostly dressed up as clowns, celebrating the life of our dearly departed friend, Corteo. And we also had angels and the devil, who would occasionally take Corteo along with him as a funny alternate ending to our program. But for the most part, one of the angels would skate off with Corteo. I start off by the coffin in the orange and blue pants, black veil, and green hat. There's one other girl who's dressed exactly the same as me. A lot of us actually had doppelgangers in this program. And for my circus theme trick, I got to wave a ribbon around. And we took our youngest skater at the time and tied giant balloons onto her. That was pretty cool. We had some really talented skaters, and some people were doing handstands and cartwheels on the ice and juggling. The long program at the time had no rules. It was pretty much a free-for-all, do whatever you want. But let me tell you that each year more and more rules did end up being added. Like, I heard that one team used actual trampolines in their program, but after the judges saw that, trampolines became banned in subsequent years. And like with the balloons, I think we got that banned because then there were no more balloons and a new height limit was put on all props. I think our team single-handedly made the officials add more rules because we like to push the envelope, and whenever they saw something, they were like, yep, no more of that. Fun stuff. Ice Theater now has a lot of strangely specific rules. I didn't get to keep all of my Ice Theater costumes, but I would say that for the most part, I do still have them. So let's go bring them out and take a closer look. In 2009, the International Theater on Ice Competition and US National Theater on Ice Championships were held in Chicago, Illinois, and our short program was Bees, or Flight of the Bumblebee, and our long program was Forrest Gump. So yes, we tried to show the whole story of Forrest Gump within our 6-minute long program. It was ambitious. We had everything from Forrest sitting on the bench with his box of chocolates, of course, and we had the football scene. I got to play a football player. I was in one of the green jerseys. It was actually one of our ice theater dads who choreographed this scene in the program because he had some experience in football and we wanted to make it look realistic. And then we had the war scene. I also got to play a soldier, and we were crawling around on the ice and dragging wounded people off. And we had hippies protesting the war. And later, we even had dancing shrimp and Lieutenant Dan rocking out. And finally, we had Forrest's and Jenny's wedding, and I was one of the many flower girls. And yeah, after this, I think feathers became the next unusual thing to be banned in long programs. Anyways, this was another very fun program to be a part of, but this was the most costume changes we would ever do in a single program. It was crazy, and I have to tell you that it was super stressful too, because we literally had seconds to change in between scenes. The key was that we had our costumes on in layers, so we could just rip off the Velcro pieces. So I would skate behind the backdrop, throw off my green football jersey, and then skate right back out. And I already had on my army uniform. And then when that part was done, I'd skate behind the backdrop again. And underneath my army uniform, I already had on my flower girl dress. But behind these backdrops, it was pure chaos. Clothes were flying everywhere. I did not get to keep my green football jersey nor my army uniform. The only costume that I got to keep from this program was my flower girl dress. In 2010, the International Theater on Ice Competition and U.S. National Theater on Ice Championships were held in Troy, Ohio, and our short program was Troy. It was an epic Trojan horse battle scene, and this was the year we actually doubled up on our long programs. For the international competition, we did Corteo again, and then for the national competition, we did Avatar. In the beginning, I had the blue fan, and again, like the year before, we also tried to follow the Avatar storyline as it was in the movie. I love this program. It was our most dramatic season yet. I definitely felt this one, especially when we all got in the circle and we were grieving the destruction of our home tree. And yeah, there were different battle scenes going on. And we made cool patterns on the ice and did fun tribal dances. And we also had the big dragon skating around everywhere. In the actual movie, the actors were not really blue. They just wore motion capture suits and had sensors dotted all over their bodies. But for us, yeah, we got the blue paint. We had a lot of blue makeup all over our faces. US National Theater on Ice Championships and Nations Cup, or Theater on Ice Worlds, were held in Hyannis, Massachusetts. And our short program was Bullfight, and our long program was Bohemian Rhapsody. I already showed you the whole program in the part 1 video, and I also mentioned the newspaper article that we were featured in, but I will read you some excerpts right now. If you want to read the whole thing, then I will add the link down below again for the digital version of the article. This was the first year that I got a more noticeable role in our program. I played Mama, and I will be forever grateful. It's a bit funny that this program happened to be Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm literally Bohemian. I'm Czech. Bohemia is the Czech Republic. Also, from this point forward, I would always play the mom character for some reason. But anyways, I have always loved acting and performing, and I'm grateful for any opportunity that I get to share that. I'd say that that was my biggest contribution to the team, my acting. I loved being dramatic and making all these intense faces and surprising my teammates, coaches, ice theater parents, judges, and audience members a bit. Grand Finale for Theater on Ice by John Gardner Jr., contributing writer. Hyannis. With an estimated economic impact of 1.5 million and more than 4,000 total fans in attendance, the back-to-back Nations Cup and US National Theater on Ice Championships were inarguably the most successful venture in the short 2-year history of the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. This was probably the biggest event yet to arrive here in terms of national and international recognition, said Donna Wonder, competition chair of the Yarmouth Ice Club. Now, we'll have a measuring stick to attract major events in the future. The combined 51 participating teams stayed at 11 host hotels, and several other mid-Cape lodging establishments housed parents and fans who traveled from around the country and from overseas. I want to take a moment right now to say just how amazing our director and founder Danelle was, and also how awesome our assistant coaches Jenny and Amy were, and later BB as well, of course. Looking back on all of our programs, I'm still blown away. Our costume designer was Manzar, and oh my goodness, our costumes were epic, and so was our hair, I might add. So one of our ice theater moms, Barbara, did my hair for this program, and yes, it's all my natural hair. I wore no hair extensions whatsoever. She meticulously curled all those strands with a curling iron and then sewed it all into my head. Yes, sewed it in with yarn that was very close to my own hair color, because at this point, bobby pins were banned. And my specific hairdo took a whopping 3 hours to complete. But then don't forget that I had to get it all out again, and then this fell on my mom to very carefully cut out all the yarn and not accidentally cut any of my actual hair. So yeah, another few hours to undo the hairstyle. And I was very relieved when that part was over. In 2012, the US National Theater on Ice Championships were held in Strongsville, Ohio, and our short program was 2012 Final Breath. It was an end of the world theme, and our long program was Notte Sogni. It was a medley of different operas such as Carmen and The Barber of Seville, and I played Madame Butterfly. I gave it all I had, definitely my most dramatic performance with the team. I did not get to keep the hot pink kimono, And this is one of the very few pics that I have of me wearing it. It's just a casual pic that I took at home. The costume that I did get to keep was this black and white one that I changed into for the other scenes. And you might recognize that I repurposed it for my first Halloween video on my channel. 2012 was the year that we were featured in Skating magazine, and I will read you those excerpts right now. Again, if you'd like to read the full article, then I will add the link for the digital version down below. So this is the November 2012 issue, photo by Joanne Funakoshi, coaches Danil Cole and Jenny Brenson. So fulfilling. Joy of performing drives Los Angeles Ice Theater by Amber Gibson. Los Angeles Ice Theater, LAIT, is the standard for excellence when it comes to theater on ice. The 5-time Theater on Ice champion, LAIT has won every national competition it's entered. For LAIT director and choreographer Danil Cole and her skaters, however, winning is really only secondary to the joy of performance and passion for skating. Theater is amazing, Cole says. It gives everyone an opportunity to experience what they want from figure skating. Cole founded Los Angeles Ice Theater in 2001 with the assistance of fellow coach Jenny Brenson. TOI teams consist of between 8 and 30 skaters and are judged on technical merit, artistry, musicality, and originality. The TOI program encompasses a combination of skating, dancing, and acting. LAIT receives no funding to compete internationally. It has one big fundraiser show each year, the Cabaret on Ice, which Cole estimates raises around $5,000. Olympians Evan Lisacek and Mirai Nagasu have skated in the cabaret before. Cole is grateful for the family she's built with the team. I just want to see it succeed, she says of Theater on Ice. It's so much fun and so fulfilling. It's the best thing in figure skating. So at this point in 2012, I was in college, and it no longer became possible for me to both continue with my coursework and be on ice theater. I had been with the Los Angeles Ice Theater for 5 consecutive years, from high school and even into college. Usually around college, that is when most skaters have to stop doing ice theater. If I wanted to graduate from university in the standard 4-year time frame, I had to make the very difficult decision of saying goodbye to the thing that I love the most. I couldn't miss any of my in-person chem classes, which I had scheduled over the summer. And this was, of course, in direct conflict with Theater on Ice, which have the nationals during the summer. But this turned out to be a lot harder decision than I even thought, because college was one of the worst times in my life. And now it didn't help at all that I just missed theater so much. I missed it terribly. I definitely didn't feel like I was done. I still had more left in me. And also, we were on a hot streak. We were 5 consecutive time national champions and world silver medalists in Theater on Ice. And in 2013, we were supposed to compete at Worlds again with our Notte Sogni program. I did not go with my team to Spain, and I think they ended up getting 6th place. I don't know how things could have been different if I had made some different choices. Maybe I should have just chosen ice theater over college and been happier, who knows. Fast forward, I did graduate from university and on time, but now I was at a crossroads in my life. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and it was now 2015 and my father had just died. And I had this epiphany. I was literally working on this painting when I thought, what if I go back to ice theater? Because life is short and you should spend it doing what you love the most. And what I loved the most was ice theater. And around this time, a lot of other stuff started happening too. I enrolled in graduate school. That was my mom's idea. And I also got cast in this black box theater production of The Dark Side of the Moon in Hollywood. and I got involved in the student films. But yeah, I haven't been on ice theater in 3 years. I've been on hiatus and I haven't been skating much at all during this time. So I had a bit of apprehension. What would my coaches think? Would they even be willing to take me back on the team? And would I be able to keep up with everyone? But I decided just to go for it. And spoiler alert, I did make it back on the team. It took a little bit of figuring out where to place me. It was a little complicated because at this point the team had split into two Los Angeles Ice Theater teams, but eventually I did find my place and I just fell right back in. I felt in my element and right back at home. It's true that it was mostly all new people except for the coaches. And yeah, this time around, everyone was so much younger than me. I was used to being the same age as everyone else. There were always skaters that were younger than me and even older than me, but I felt like within the majority. But this time I was by far the oldest. So that was a little bit of an adjustment, but again, I was back in my happy place. In 2016, the U.S. National Theater on Ice Championships were held in Birmingham, Alabama, and the short program that I did with the team was Wind, and our long program was Charlie Chaplin. I played Charlie Chaplin's mom, and our costume designer was now Lisa McKinnon, who also makes stunning outfits for Olympians. I remember sitting in the bleachers in 2016 after we had just competed our own program and we were watching all of the other teams skate, and I remember just thinking that I want to do this forever. Okay, so nothing lasts quite forever, but I definitely felt like I could see myself doing this at least for a few more years. But yeah, during the 2016-17 season, that's when things got a little sticky for me. So 2017 was World's Year again, and USFSA, the United States Figure Skating Association, updates their rules every so often. And what happened was they added an age restriction this year, and this directly affected me. I was going to compete with my team at Nationals, but I was no longer allowed to compete with my team in my division at Worlds. My coach and I, we tried really hard to contact USFSA and get them to change their mind or make an exception, but they wouldn't budge and the decision stood. So I would be competing with my team at Nationals in the summer, but I would not be going to compete with my team at Worlds the spring right before. So that was super awkward, and I didn't even know it at the time, but after this season, I would no longer be able to compete even at Nationals. I would be over the age limit for my division. So this was really it. At first, this season went by normally, but then I even had to stop coming to practice so that they could choreograph everything without me in the program. I can't blame anything or anyone, but this was also when my grades started to slip a little bit. I was in graduate school. Undergrad, it was just an awful time for me. Graduate school was much better, but I did have this little slip up of old bad habits because I was just being bummed about the whole world situation. I missed the jacket party where everyone got their Team USA jackets. And I just wanted to be there for my team. I wanted to go to all the long extra practices, the boot camps, and I wanted to compete with my team. But yeah, I just had to hang in there and wait for my team to come back. And on top of all that, everyone already knew the short and long program really well. They have been practicing it all this time. So I was left with having to learn all the moves and play major catch up. I truly had to dig deep and power through. I don't give up. I was a competitor and I was determined to finish strong. But that's really hard when I felt it in my bones. Just, this is it, isn't it? Just one last chance, make it count.